Okay, so I had somebody ask about using my different brushes for my Gumroad brush pack, which you can get over at gumroad.com/tnartist. There's a lot of brushes in there, and ranging from these watercolor brushes to the ones I have over here, like the acrylic dry brush, the 1-inch general brush, Impasto brush, smudgy custom brush, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of different ones in that pack. It's like 70 different things with the stencils and brushes and all that, because there's like, when I first put it out, there was over 30 brushes and over 40 stencils, and now I've added more to it, like these right here, this acrylic, the Impasto, the smudgy, all that's been added to it for everybody to get because it's lifetime updates. So these are all designed for really to be time saving, okay? And in my process, as I've been going through stuff and doing things and doing these different paintings, I've realized, oh, I would like to be able to get this effect. How can I make a brush that does that effect and saves me some time from building it up? Because all of my paintings I do in layers, okay? And so I really wanted to have a way to do a lot of that. And for some of it, that's really how these evolved out, like this custom Impressionistic brush that I use in a lot of my paintings. That was designed to really help save time for painting clouds and stuff, and to give me that really soft looking cloud that I wanted. So I just threw in some color here so I can kind of show you some things. So let's say, for example, I wanted to do that, and I have my underpainting color here. All right, so I can have that laid there, and then I can take the Impressionistic cloud brush, and I could start kind of laying in some different colors that I wanted. What I usually do is I actually will set it up on a separate layer and kind of start messing around getting the shapes that I want, and then adding in some different colors that I want. You kind of get it thrown together and get that soft thing. So one of the reasons I made this brush was because when I'm doing these, I can lay in color and then easily blend it by going back over. This brush blends super well, and that's one of the reasons I like it. So I'll use it for underpaintings, I'll use it for blocking in colors and that stuff, just because of the way I like how I can get the different hues and values all kind of laid in quickly with it. And if I'm doing any kind of cloud work, I can just kind of get that in there, and then from there I can start refining it more and more and more. Now, one of the things with this is that it does get these really jagged edges, so then a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go back in and I'll soften it out with like the eraser or something like that, and just kind of get that that soft look to it. But then I can build it up as I go. So the Gouache Dry Brush, it does a streaky kind of paint like this. So it works great for hair. It works great for softening some of these and giving that real painterly kind of look to it, and kind of playing around with the way I like it to do. Now, it does hesitate when I'm recording because of the way brushes work. So this one is very similar. It's smudgy, so it's like it doesn't put down as much paint as the Impressionistic cloud brush does, but it really kind of lets me smudge stuff and push it around a little more. This old gouache brush is kind of similar in the fact that I can put down quick, scratchy colors of flat color, and the same with kind of this one. But this brush, this old gouache brush, is kind of a blend between these two and lets me kind of play around with it as far as that goes. Undo some of this to free up some of my canvas. So the inky cloud brush, it behaves a little bit different than this gouache in the fact that it smears a little more and kind of layers upon itself, so it has more of a wet look, whereas the Impressionistic cloud brush to me has more of a dry kind of look to it. So that this does really good. And these are titled for what I originally was going to use them for, but they work great for other things. Like, say, for example, if I wanted to use this as a cloud brush, I could, but also if I wanted to use it for, let's say, putting in where a bush may live. Now you see how this is changing the color and the value up and down? That's what this is different than the Impressionistic one is. But let's say I was doing that, and then over in the other parts of the set that come with it, like this bush brush, I could then go in and start building on top of that, like so, and I have a lot of that variation of color in there. You know, the same thing, like if this was a tree, I could be doing this as a tree and do a very similar thing, like so. So that's what that's designed to do. So as you can see, these work great for layering them on top of each other and really getting that kind of nice layered look. But it just saves me time, and that's the whole reason I have these, like I said. So if I have the old brush, like say for example I was trying to paint excuse me, maybe some wood, like some old barn of this bluish gray, and I wanted to start it off just kind of getting this streaky kind of a look. That's what this one can work really well with. And then from there I could switch down here to like my wood grain and start laying in some of that. Now this one does lag a lot when I'm recording because of the way it's set up. So then all I gotta do is just keep kind of smearing this back forward. Then it just makes all these little dots that smear out, and that's how it works for the wood grain. But then if I, you know, if I wanted to do, because then from there I can take like my pencil, really kind of make some, bring some of that, pull it together a little bit. And if I keep going back and forth, if you look at my video, like the Cades Cove painting, the wood grain in that for those old barns, that's what that works great for. Impasto brush. So if I wanted to lay down some quick texture, either for the underpainting, like say if I was working on this and I wanted this to be my underpainting, I could do that and then build on top of it. I can play around with it there. This one does have a tendency to burn out if you're using opposite colors, but if you go back over it with like something like these whites or these lighter colors, it can build up some really cool texture, like so. So you can get some really neat looking stuff with it. Evergreen brush is just that. It's for blending and making quick evergreens, like so. The leaves brush, like I said, that's kind of the same thing as doing for trees. The mountain brush, this one is designed really to, if I wanted to freehand in some rocks, I can use it to start layering that in and getting that effect that I want, and kind of streak the stuff in, and then from there I can really go into making stones and that kind of stuff. This one was really designed to go with my stone brush. I mean my stone stencil. That works great. And actually I have on Patreon a whole series on painting mountains. Use this brush, marker brush, and a couple other brushes like mountain brush and all that, but then the stencil, the mountain stencil that I have, and make just, here's how you can make some cool mountains, and doing that. It came out really good, and that goes all through it. And on Patreon you've got hours of lessons like this on how to use these different ones and kind of build it up, be it from, you know, laying these out here, switching around and doing it on a new layer. So like if I wanted to get kind of a nice stony look, I can do all that and build it all up. So that's what that's designed to do. And these older ones, these ones right here, like these cloud oval, these are all designed to be used in conjunction with some of these other ones. You know, these newer ones like the watercolor brushes and stuff, they're really meant to be more on their own. So if I wanted to use them to build up and kind of blend in, that's what they're designed to do. Okay. So that's kind of how all those work from in here, is to work. These kind of work more with stencils, except for the newer ones that have the pictures. These other ones here work more by themselves and for really being able to build the colors that way. So the watercolor brushes are set up so that you can get in some quick washes with stuff. You can use some of these different ones to blend them in and get some nice washes real quick. Some of them are designed to soften. So like this is an overlay one, and it will soften in and kind of do that for the look. Some of them are designed to darken and build up the textures that way. Some of them are designed to random and really give you that kind of random look. And some of them are designed to blend. Now the blender does take up some processing power, especially when I'm recording, but if you're patient with it and just kind of take your time, you can get some really nice, cool painterly effects. The brush, the salt brush, works great for if you're wanting to, you know, if you build up all these watercolor kind of looks, and I've done different paintings with this where you just kind of tap it and it gives you that. You can also switch these to eraser mode and it would take out some of that. So for example, this one's on eraser mode at the moment, I believe. So it's on eraser mode. So let's say, for example, I put down some of this color here, okay? And then maybe I put just a little stuff on it. So I want to kind of really get that cool texture. Then I can switch to the spatter brush and take some of that out. And I can even change that from spatter to the white and get kind of a salty look with that as well, or just go with help each other. So these are all designed to kind of play around, get textures, and get different looks, like I said. So that's really kind of the quick overview. I mean, there's a bunch of stencils in here. If you want to see how to use the stencils, check out my other videos. I use them all the time in there and show how to layer them and how to blend them and manipulate them. Same thing really for these brushes. I hadn't thought about doing a brush video because I use these so much in all of my work that it just hadn't occurred to me. And somebody was asking about, hey, can you do a little quick demo on some of your brushes? So I thought, well, sure, why not? So that's what I was doing here. And hopefully that helps with answering at least some questions on, hey, how do these work? Or, you know, what are they used for? A lot of times for me, they're just used for saving time. You know, instead of having to paint each one of these things through here, I can get a certain blend or a certain look just by making these different stencils to do that for me and let me build up a lot of color and a lot of technique and stuff that I can normally get with just a regular brush. But digital, you can't really get it as quick. So you got to have brushes that kind of help with some of that and just set up to do it. So I hope this helps. If you got questions about it or you need to see something, like I said, check out my other videos, leave a comment below and I'll direct you to the video that should be able to help answer your question. Check out my Patreon because again, there's hours of stuff there. And if you do decide to buy the brushes off of Gumroad, they have lifetime updates. So I'm updating them. Actually, I've got some new ones that I'm going to be sending out here shortly to everybody. And so once you got them, you've got them. And if you're a patron, you actually get a discount on them. So anyway, I hope this helps and have a fantastic rest of the day.